Today we're touching on three topics: the basic question of what is a sentence, one-word sentences, and the difference between transitive verbs and intransitive verbs, and how some verbs can be either one.
My first question for you, John, and this is, by the way, John Rubadeau, a PhD linguist, longtime University of Michigan professor, my teacher in 1989 at Michigan. He taught me writing, taught me everything I know. I'm a Denver writer and journalist, and my name is Todd Neff. So
I don't want you in the audience to think that he is the exemplar of a perfectly trained student. But go on.
I would agree with that. Let me ask you, what is a sentence? It's almost like a philosophical question. Well, what is a tree?
Yeah. A tree is a place where male dogs go to defecate. But anyway, a sentence is a group of words that has a subject and a verb and sometimes an object. It doesn't have to have an object, and it must make sense. So if I said, I hit the ball, it's got a subject, I, it's got a verb, hit, and it's got an object, ball, and that makes sense. Now, if I put a word called a preposition in front of the sentence and said, after I hit the ball, well, it's still got a verb, and still got a subject, it's still got an object, but it doesn't make any sense because you're left wanting. After I hit the ball, what? After I hit the ball, comma, I ran to first base. But that's what a sentence is. And by the way, sentences can be simple as one word. Bravo! Exclamation point. That's a sentence.
Well, how can that be a sentence?
Because what went before it stimulated the answer bravo to the sentence. Like, here's a sentence. How are you feeling, Todd? That's a sentence, right? And then the
Yes.
next sentence is yes, period. Now, by ellipsis, that means something left out, elliptically left out. The sentence reads, yes, elliptically, John, I'm feeling great. So just one word can be a sentence.
But if you ask me how are you feeling, Todd, and I answered yes, that's not a very good answer.
Well, yeah, but that's probably a bad example. Yeah. Are you going to the movies tonight, Todd? Yes. Elliptically, yes, I'm going to the movie tonight. You don't have to say that. Just yes is a sentence. So one word can be a sentence.
Got it. Now, you said sometimes an object, a subject, a verb, and sometimes an object. This gets into different types of verbs, transitive, intransitive. You want to hop on, talk about those real briefly?
Well, it's very simple. Transitive verbs are verbs that have to have an object. And intransitive verbs are verbs that don't have to have an object. And what makes it confusing to some beginners is that a verb can both be transitive and intransitive. Many verbs are just transitive. That means they have to have an object. Many verbs are just intransitive. They don't take an object. But I could say, as an example, I swam what? A great race yesterday. I swam a great race. That's a transitive verb. It has an object. I swam what? A great race. And then the same verb, swim, could be an intransitive verb, not take an object. I swam beautifully. The key to this is very simple. With transitive verbs, after the verb, you answer the question, what or whom? W-H-O-M. And if there's an answer, it's the transitive verb. I hit him. Okay? And him and whom both have an M in it, so it's an easy way to see when to say use him or he.
But you can just say I hit, right?
Well,
like if you're a baseball batter, what'd you do last inning? Well, I hit.
Yeah, or you can say I swam beautifully. How'd you swim? So if you answer the verb, if a verb answers the question how, where, when, or zero, for instance, zero would be I slept, period. There's no how, when. I slept beautifully. How'd you sleep? I slept in my bed. Where'd you sleep? You see what I mean? So that's an easy way to remember how you distinguish between a transitive and an intransitive verb. If a transitive verb answers the question what or whom, whereas a intransitive verb answers the question where, when, how, or nothing. Zero.
Next up, 3 ways to clearly convey complex ideas in your writing.